You are not the first kind of human. You are just the last one. At some point in the last 40,000 years, every other human species on Earth disappeared. Not one or two, all of them, gone within a remarkably short window of time. And here's the part that should stop you cold. We were there when it happened. This is not a story about primitive cave people being replaced by smarter ones. That is the comfortable version. The real version is stranger, darker, and far more recent than almost anyone realizes. Let's start with what you think you know about Neanderthals, because almost all of it is wrong. Neanderthals were not hunched, dim-witted brutes dragging clubs through the mud. They had larger brains than we do. Not smaller, larger. They buried their dead, deliberately, carefully, sometimes with flowers placed in the grave. They used medicinal plants. Researchers have found residues of yarrow, groundsel, and ephedra in Neanderthal burial sites, plants with documented pain-relieving and anti-inflammatory properties. They made jewelry. They created pigments and decorated their bodies. There is evidence they cared for their elderly and their injured, individuals found in burial sites who had survived for years with severe disabilities that would have required sustained care from others. These were not animals. These were people. And they are not the only ones. At the peak of human diversity on this planet, there were at least 8 distinct human species walking the Earth simultaneously. Homo sapiens, Homo neanderthalensis, Homo erectus, Homo floresiensis, a 3-foot-tall human species that lived on the Indonesian island of Flores until as recently as 50,000 years ago. The Denisovans, a species we did not even know existed until 2010, identified from a single finger bone found in a cave in Siberia. And several others whose remains are fragmentary, whose full stories we will probably never recover. 8 species, all human, all gone now except us. And here is the pattern that makes this uncomfortable. Wherever Homo sapiens went, the other human species disappeared. Not immediately, not overnight, but within a few thousand years of our arrival in any given territory, the species that had lived there for hundreds of thousands of years was gone. Neanderthals had survived in Europe for at least 300,000 years before we arrived. Within 5,000 years of our arrival, they were extinct. Homo erectus had survived for nearly 2 million years. Gone. Homo floresiensis had lived on Flores for hundreds of thousands of years. Gone. Right around the time evidence of modern human presence on the island begins. The timing is not a coincidence. The pattern is too consistent across too many species in too many locations to be coincidence. So, what did we actually do? 3 theories have dominated the research for decades, and the honest answer is probably all 3. The first is climate change. The period between 40,000 and 10,000 years ago was one of dramatic climate instability. Ice ages advancing and retreating, ecosystems collapsing and reforming. Neanderthals had survived previous ice ages, but this one, combined with other pressures, may have pushed already stressed populations past the point of recovery. The second is disease. When 2 human populations that have been separated for hundreds of thousands of years make contact, they carry completely different immune histories. The diseases Homo sapiens carried, diseases we had developed some immunity to through long exposure, may have been catastrophic for populations encountering them for the first time. This is not speculation. We have seen this exact dynamic play out in recorded history repeatedly with devastating results. The third is direct competition and violence. Archaeological evidence shows that Neanderthal populations declined rapidly in areas of contact with modern humans. Some sites show evidence of direct conflict. We were better organized, more numerous, and possibly more ruthlessly effective at eliminating competition for resources. But here is the part that makes this story personal. We did not simply replace them. We absorbed some of them. If you are of non-African descent, between 1% and 4% of your DNA is Neanderthal. Not metaphorically, literally. Your genome contains sequences that came from Neanderthal individuals who interbred with early modern humans before the Neanderthal population collapsed entirely. Some of those sequences are doing things inside you right now, influencing your immune system, your pain tolerance, your susceptibility to certain diseases. The people we helped eliminate left something of themselves inside us. And then there are the Denisovans. In 2010, researchers analyzing a tiny fingerbone fragment found in Denisova cave in Siberia discovered it belonged to a previously unknown human species. Not a known species, a completely new one, identified from a single piece of a single finger. Subsequent analysis found Denisovan DNA in modern human populations across Asia and the Pacific, meaning this species also interbred with our ancestors before disappearing. We carry their DNA. We have never found a complete skeleton. We do not know what they looked like. We know almost nothing about their culture or their capabilities. They existed. They were human. They are gone. And we found out about them 11 years ago from a fingerbone the size of your thumbnail. Which raises the question nobody has fully answered. Why did we survive when they did not? The comfortable answer is that we were smarter, more adaptable, more creative. And there is some evidence for this. Our symbolic thinking, our language complexity, our capacity for large-scale social cooperation may have given us advantages the other species lacked. But the Neanderthals had larger brains. The Denisovans had adaptations to high-altitude environments that we still carry in our own DNA because we interbred with them and kept those genes because they were useful. These were not inferior species. They were different species, each with capabilities and adaptations we did not have. We do not fully know why we are the ones still here. What we do know is this: you are not the pinnacle of human evolution. You are not the inevitable outcome of a process that was always building toward you. You are a survivor, the last one standing on a planet that was, until very recently, shared with others who were almost exactly like you. And we do not know, with any certainty, exactly what we did to them. That uncertainty is worth sitting with.